Hey guys, it's John, and welcome back to another buying guide with Gaming Edit. Today, we'll be talking about which are the 5 best picks, and then we'll talk about how to choose the correct product, and what you should look at before buying. We have ranked these products based on their price, quality, durability, performance, and more. And if you would like to see their price and find out more information, then you can. Check out the links in the description below. To make it easier, we'll include timestamps in the description below.
As you spend more and more time in the adrenaline-charged, gravity-defying world of vehicular soccer (RL), you'll start to understand the importance of having the best controller for Rocket League. It makes it so much easier to do aerials or to slowly ramp up for dribbles. Irrespective of whether you are playing solo standard or chasing the hockey puck in Snow Day, oh yes, we love Snow Day, a good controller improves precision and reduces latency. Also, the customization makes it a breeze to set triggers. If this is your maiden attempt at switching to a controller from a keyboard and mouse setup, or you are looking to upgrade the controller because you broke the old one, then finding the right one can be a tad overwhelming. That's cause most players have their own favorites depending on personal preferences. Some prefer the DS4 while others like the Xbox controllers mainly due to the position of the analog stick. How do you find one that works for you? Here's some help. Number 5. Razer Raiju Ultimate. If you have always played Rocket League with the DS4, then you'll find the Razer Raiju Ultimate to be a worthy upgrade. It is essentially the DS4 with a meatier form factor and 4 additional, customizable buttons that makes life easier for you. Talking about meaty, the Raiju feels hefty in comparison to almost every other controller. The casing is mostly aluminum and it feels like a premium controller all the way. If you prefer beefy controllers, this one's right up your alley. If you don't, then unfortunately, there's no way to customize the heft. Let's talk Rocket League with the Raiju Ultimate. The 2 analog joysticks sitting next to each other are a treat to use. But the thumb touches on these can be swapped for a more comfortable variety if need be. The face buttons are Razer's Mecha tactile action buttons which feel extremely soft to the touch, but offer great tactile feedback. Chances are that you'll never go back to using anything else once you take an inkling to this. But some users don't like the feedback, mind you. So, it could be a hit or a miss. With a plethora of customization options, the Razer Raiju is amongst the best controllers. At least the wired one is. Number 4. Xbox Elite Series 2 Premium Pick. The original Xbox Elite was one of the most well-received controllers for RL. But it was plagued by a bevy of problems like broken bumpers and peeled grips, which was a huge letdown. Microsoft is back with the upgraded, revamped version of the Elite called Series 2. Along with Bluetooth connectivity, there's a host of customization options on offer, which makes it a worthy contender. The Series 2 controller is slightly wider than the original. While the metallic accents are retained, there are wrap-around rubberized grips which make it more ergonomic and easy on the hands. Also, it's lighter than the original Elite, which is a welcome change. There are 4 paddle buttons on the underside of the controller, all of which can be remapped, removed or disabled. So, every finger barring your pinky can be put to good use. It is a serious, professional-grade controller for the Xbox and PC. The only thing that could deter you is the price tag. But that's never been a deal-breaker for serious gamers, has it? Number 3. Scuf Vantage 2. The Scuf Vantage, which reimagined the DS4 in every possible way, was a terrific gaming controller. But it was let down by poor build quality. At first glance, the Vantage 2 looks a lot like the Xbox Elite rather than the DS4. If you've always preferred Xbox One or the Elite over DS4 for playing RL, you'll love the Vantage 2. Just like the Elite, the customization options are manifold. You can swap the trigger styles, the joysticks and even the D-pad. If you have used the Vantage 1, you'd be familiar with the build quality as well as the quality of the triggers and the face buttons. Everything has been upgraded. The Vantage 2 feels like a premium-grade controller and with all the possibilities, this one sure is a pro gamer's delight. Number 4. Steam Controller, Budget Pick. Despite a slightly unconventional design, the Steam Controller has remained one of the most popular options for Rocket League. That's because if you are willing to go through the learning curve, it can be customized and mapped to automate some of the most frequently used functions in the game. At first glance, the Steam controller looks like the Xbox controller with the large trackpads in place of the analog sticks. The sole analog stick is positioned at the bottom half of the controller, flanked by the 4 tiny face buttons. There are bumpers and triggers along with 2 paddles on the rear which can be customized as well. The construction is mostly plastic. But so are the DS4 and the Xbox controllers. The most notable difference that users might have to get adjusted to, is to use the trackpads instead of the thumbsticks. Well, it's not as difficult as it appears to be. The trackpads offer great sensitivity and Valve has added haptic feedback, which takes the guesswork out of it. A lot of Rocket League users consider the Steam controller as the most affordable, customizable controller out there, especially for use with PC. It may or may not work for you, but it definitely is one of the best choices. Number 5. DualShock 4 Wired Wireless Controller, our pick. Believe it or not, the Sony DS4 is our top pick for Rocket League, despite the lack of customization options. That's one of the reasons why there are a lot more pro players using the DS4 than the Xbox One. There's Vogan, Greasy, Pashy, Jacob, Espion, Amoney and Fireburner, that we can think of at the moment. We are sure that there must be a lot more names in that list. When it comes to choosing between the wired and wireless ones, the wired DS4 offers excellent performance, incredibly low latency and almost zero input lag. Also, there's native support in Rocket League, which means that you can plug it in and start playing, but a lot of gamers prefer wireless due to convenience and aesthetics. Wireless performance isn't too bad either, provided that you are willing to overlook the battery life, which is nothing to write home about. Talking about the controller, it's ergonomic, with well-spaced out buttons, perfect for long hours. Then there's the trackpad, which can be used or not, depending on your preferences. The buttons are butter smooth with no stiffness whatsoever. The stock DualShock 4 is good enough for most competitive gamers. How to select the best controller for Rocket League. Rocket League is an extremely demanding game that will require hours of practice before you start to master the nuances. While you can learn the game with just about any stock controller, having even the slightest advantage goes a long way in reaching tournament and champion levels. The best controller can get you that advantage. That said, it's not easy to select one because there are so many differing opinions, many of them subjective. So we'll base our selections on some of the features that professional RL players look for while picking controllers. Customization. Being able to customize and remap the face buttons as well as the bumpers is hands down the most desired feature by RL players. While the stock DS4 does offer basic customization, some of the more advanced pro-level controllers allow you to reconfigure every single button including the touchpad. You can change the sensitivity of the triggers, you can map the face buttons to additional buttons or paddles, more on this in a bit, and this allows you to avoid using the same finger for multiple actions. Some users, for example, use boost on L1, R2 for throttle and R1 for scoreboard, which makes it a lot easier to use the face buttons for jump and slide. If you have never been able to get the aerials right, try this. Most customizable controllers also let you swap out the buttons, thumbsticks and triggers for more comfortable options. Additional buttons. Additional buttons are not mandatory. But having them, especially paddles, make a huge difference to the way you play the game. Most players who switch to a paddled controller will never be able to go back to one without paddles. Tapping paddles is easier than pressing a face button. Also, the paddles are positioned on the underside of the controller, which makes them easier to access without using your primary fingers. Latency. Latency might be a problem while using wireless controllers for Rocket League. Even a couple of milliseconds of delay or lag can make a huge difference in a ranked match when you are trying your best to score that improbable goal. That said, most of the controllers in this list have low latency. We have specifically mentioned the ones that do have a problem. By the way, latency with most controllers will be too mild to affect casual gameplay. You should only be concerned about it if you game professionally. That's it, Rocket Leaguers. We hope that you enjoyed reading our recommendations for Rocket League. If you feel that we missed out on a controller that you swear by, then do write in the comments box. We'd love to hear your views about it.